Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In the last video we have seen how we can dockerize our nginx application, and then we deployed that particular application using the docker run command, and then we uh, access the same using our localhost on some specific port mentioned by us. So in this video what we are going to do is we are going to deploy that particular Docker image in our Kubernetes cluster. Now, what are the benefits of deploying it on Kubernetes is that uh, the Kubernetes provides us an orchestration framework, and what does it mean is that whenever it will continuously monitor your application, and it has several mechanisms for self-healing, load balancing, or auto scaling, upgrades, and all these things. It takes care of all these things for you. So these are some of the benefits of Kubernetes. For more details you can refer my videos on Kubernetes in a separate playlist for Kubernetes. So in this video we are going to deploy our Docker image on Kubernetes. So let's get started. So let me quickly open my terminal, and here what I will do is, first of all I will try to deploy a single pod using my Docker image. So for doing that, what I have done is I have already created one file, that is testpod nginx sandeep.yaml. Now if I will open this file, you can see here that the API version for this particular kind of object, that is pod, is v1, and I have kept the name for this particular pod as nginx poda, and then containers, I am saying that it is a nginx container, and the image I am pulling is from this particular location. So here if I quickly open a new separate window, and here I do docker images, then you can see here that I have this particular image, that is which we have created in our previous video on Docker, and the tag which was attached to it was latest. So I have used the same image here to be deployed for this particular pod. And here the most important thing that we have to note is this particular Docker config secret. So before running this particular pod, or before deploying this pod, what we will have to do is we will have to create a secret, that is basically a Docker secret, which will be used when we will pull this particular image from Docker Hub. So to do that we have this command, and the command is, you have to run this command on your system, and that command is kubectl create secret docker registry. Here you can mention that your server is https. For Docker Hub it is this, and you can check it here on your system, that inside your home folder you have one file, that is docker config.json. So from here you can pick the URL for the Docker Hub. Now this is the URL, and this is the command which you have to run. So here you will put docker username will be your username to the Docker Hub. So if I quickly show you my username at Docker Hub, then you can see it's Rawat Sandeep 1989. So same will be put here. Then we have Docker password. Docker password is a password for your Docker Hub, and then your email which you have used for your Docker Hub account. So once you have run this command, you will have the secret ready on your system. And now what I will do is I will just say I will first get the pods on my system, then I will delete these pods as we will do a fresh deployment. So kubectl delete deployment. Also note that you need to have the miniq. Okay, kubectl, let me get the pods. Also note that you need to have your miniq running at this point of time. So here if I run miniq status, you can see that my Kubernetes cluster, that is a 2-node cluster, is running. So if you want to run your miniq cluster, you can refer again my another video on Kubernetes, and there I have explained how you can deploy your miniq cluster, or you can refer to Kubernetes official documentation here at kubernetes.io. Sorry, Kubernetes docs. Here you can refer how you can deploy your miniq cluster. So this one here you can put miniq, and then you can create your, go to this install tools, and here on Linux you need to install miniq. So here you can refer this guide to install your miniq cluster. So this I have already explained in my another video. You can refer to that video for further explanation. Now coming back to my this particular pod or my terminal, here you can see I have a miniq cluster running, and we will be deploying a pod that is a kind of object, we can say Kubernetes object, that we are going to deploy. So, and to deploy this object, you can give a declarative, or you can use an imperative or declarative approach. Right now I am giving it a declarative approach. Declarative is basically when I give the final state of my object to the Kubernetes, and it will deploy it in the best suitable way it finds. So here let me quickly do cat test pod. So here you can see that what I am doing is, again I am deploying a pod, and I have used this image, and this is the docker config secret which I am going to use. So let me apply it, and now if I use the get pods, then you can see that it is going to, it's creating a pod for me. Now let me check again, and you can see now my pod is running. If I want to log inside to this pod, I can do nginx pod bash, and here you can see if I do etc v.d nginx status, then here you can see nginx is running, and what you can do is, right now my pod is not exposed to the external world, so I cannot access it from outside. And if you want to check the pods about the details of this particular pod, then you can do nginx pod. So here you can see that it has first pulling image, it has first pulled this image, and then what it has done is Once it is successfully pulled, it has created a nginx container, and then it has started it. Now if you will see here, it is saying this particular pod, and the thing is, okay, so this is the port which is running on this container, and it is mapped to the host at this particular port, and the host IP. So let me quickly check if it is accessible. Localhost at 80. So here you can see that my PODA application is now accessible on port 80. Now from where this configuration got, how it has got it is accessible is because here what we have done is we have told host network equals to :2, host network :2 indicates that pod should use the host network namespace. So right now this particular pod is running in the same network in which my host is lying, and that is why what it has done is, since I have not mentioned any host port in this configuration file, it will automatically map my container port 80 to my host port 80, and that is why I was able to access this particular pod on my local host at port 80. Now to verify or to check this, what I will do is I will delete this pod, that is nginx pod, and once this is deleted, you can see now I don't have any pod running. Now if I refresh this page, you can see there is no application running on port 80. So here we have verified that it was this particular application which was running on, or which was accessible on port 80 on my host machine. So this is how you can access your particular pod on your local host by providing this particular configuration in your pod YAML or definition file. Now, what is the drawback of defining or deploying a pod is that once the pod gets deleted, it will not come up by itself, and here we will not be able to use the self-healing property of Kubernetes. So to achieve or to make benefit from the self-healing property of Kubernetes, what we will have to do is we will have to deploy our pod using deployments. And to do that, what we will do is, instead of writing a pod definition file, we will use a deployment kind of object. So objects are basically there are several kinds of objects, and to see what kind of objects are there, we can run kubectl API resources. So you can see these are the several kinds of resources or objects which are available in Kubernetes. And right now we have seen pods, and you would have seen the API version was v1 and it was of kind pod. So now what we will do is we will deploy, or we will have a deployment kind of object, and for it we have the API version as apps v1, and we can check it using kubectl get deploy. So right now if I run kubectl get pods, or if I run kubectl get this short version of pods is PO, so if I do PO, then it says there are no pods because we have already deleted the pod which we just deployed. So to use or to deploy this particular pod into a deployment, what we will do is we will write a deployment file, and I have already written a deployment file so that we can save our time. So if I show you that this particular deployment file, here what we have done is we have picked the spec section or metadata from the metadata section till the end, leaving this host network configuration, and we have put this complete section here in the template section of this. And then what we have done is we have uh, created a new kind of object, that is deployment, where the IP version is ASP.1 and kind is deployment, and metadata, in metadata we have mentioned that its name is nginx deployment. Now once we have done this, we will just run kubectl apply -f and then test deployment in this. Once we have done this, we can see kubectl get pods, and our 3 pods are now running. And if I describe any one of this, then you can see that it has first pulled this particular image. Once it is pulled, it has started and ran a container image. Now here you can see that port is 80, and since we have left the host network :true configuration, we haven't picked this particular configuration from the port definition in our deployment file. This host port is now showing as 0, that is, that host port is now not mapped to the container port. And then now we have deployed our deployment on our Kubernetes cluster, and we have a replica count of 3, because here we have told that we want 3 replicas of this particular deployment. So this is how we can deploy our Docker image in our deployment. Now let's say my one pod gets destroyed or down due to some reason. So let me delete pod first. So if I run this again, you can see that it is again trying, or it has again started a new pod, and it's a different one from the previous pod which we have just deleted. So this is called as the self-healing property of Kubernetes, that it tries to match the given configuration or the current status of the pod equals to the given configuration by the user. So this is how self-healing works in Kubernetes. Now we have successfully deployed our Docker image into our Kubernetes application. So right now we have covered that how we can deploy our application on Kubernetes using Docker image. Now what we will see is how we can use or make use of Helm to install our Kubernetes, how we can make use of Helm to deploy our Docker image on Kubernetes. So we will be seeing this in next video on Helm. So till then, bye bye, and please do subscribe to the channel and put your questions on as comments on video. Thank you.